This is ChloeCast, Gamers Bay Edition, Atari 2600 series, Halloween livestream, and other stories. Hello gamers, I am Mike TheZorch. Now, this show is normally a Zorch Central show, but today is a special Gamers Bay edition of ChloeCast. And I'm thinking of making this a regular thing, making ChloeCast a weekly or bi-weekly show, maybe a monthly show, don't know, to let you know what's going on the channel, what's happening, what kind of content am I going to be producing for Gamers Bay. I've been doing a lot of stuff on my channel, Zorch Central, mostly a lot of Elite Dangerous live streams. So let's start with what I'm doing here on Gamers Bay concerning the new retro gaming series that I kicked off with co-host TigerCon, who does the Elite Dangerous live streams with me. He's going to be joining me for a lot of the games for the Atari 2600 series from Atari Vault. The game supports online multiplayer, so we're going to be doing them from his machine, and we're going to be doing the split screen view that you see in our Elite Dangerous streams, where you can see what's happening on my screen and on his screen and my screen. And so we're going to be doing that for the first video. We're going to be recording that next week, and that's going to be covering Combat and Combat 2 for the 2600. Now, Atari Vault only has games made by Atari, so you won't see any Activision or Imagic or any other games from those companies in there. You only see Atari games, only Atari. Now, after that series ends, and that's going to be a while because there's a lot of Atari 2600 games in there. After that series ends, I am considering seriously doing a series on the Commodore 64. Now, I don't have the actual Commodore 64 hardware. I have to use emulation. Now, when people say, that's piracy. I don't think so. I don't believe so. For one, most of the companies that made the games for the Atari 2600, with the exception of Activision and Electronic Arts, most of them don't exist anymore. And the IP rights for a lot of those games have basically vanished, vaporized. Or they're held by some obscure company that no one knows who they are. And the games on those original discs are failing. They're dying because of disc rot. A lot of the companies that made the games back then, in order to save money, put their games on cheap discs. And those discs, the adhesive that sandwiches on the magnetic substrate is breaking down. These discs are they're a little over 30 years old now. They're a little over 30 years old, and that adhesive's breaking down. So some of the discs are actually flying apart in the disk drives. They're actually flying apart, literally. So we need to preserve those old games, whatever way we can, on disc and on cassette. Because those cassettes are also degrading too. The magnetic media is becoming unreadable. We need to preserve those old games. So I have no qualms with downloading old old Commodore 64 games, because in some cases that's the only way you can get them. Some of those games don't exist in physical copy anymore. They're either locked away in some private collection, or they're in the Retro Game Museum. Sometimes you can find games on eBay. You can spend a fortune buying a ton of discs that may or may not work off eBay, and going around all over the country or even all over the world getting original discs and cassettes from retro game conventions. Most people don't have the money to do that. There's also getting a hold of actual working hardware and then modding that hardware so you can use them on modern displays, or going through the expense of getting an original display, which can be expensive to ship. And if they burn out, expensive to repair, and extremely expensive to repair because you can't just take them to you have to find a right kind of repair shop to get them fixed. And the CRT displays aren't made anymore. So our only choice of preserving these old games is to take the discs that are working, convert them to ROMs, and use them in emulators. So the emulators for the Commodore 64 have gotten really good. The one I will be using is extremely good for playing Commodore 64 games. So that's what I will be doing. That's what I'll be using. It's the Vice emulator. It's very, very good at emulating the system. In fact, it even has the basic interface of the Commodore 64. And it will run custom Commodore 64 basic programs. And then after that, I am contemplating also covering old Apple II games, which again, a lot of those games made by companies that no longer exist and are sometimes impossible to find and need to be preserved in some way. They need to be preserved. Now, the Internet Archive has preserved a lot of old Apple II games. Now, I'm not going to be playing them off of that. There's better emulators that you can use and get the images for the games. Again, as I said, I have no qualms downloading games that are from companies that no longer exist. And even if they are from games like companies like EA and Activision, they're doing nothing with them. If they're not actually selling the games, then they shouldn't have any reason to complain when someone downloads it. I mean, say, okay, you're not actually selling this game anymore. Why not just let some people download it so they can play it? Why not? Why do you have to keep it and hoard it and not do anything with it? It's not doing you any good keeping it. It's not earning you any money. And you can't sell these old games, at least not in any way will make money. I mean, you might be able to sell them at retro gaming conventions, but that's not going to get you a whole lot of money. You might as well just share them. And I think that's why Electronic Arts and Activision have never gone after the Internet Archive for preserving these games in the Apple II and their Atari 8-bit computer series that they have on their sites, because they know what would be the point. What would be the point of taking them down if they're not doing anything with them? They're not selling them. They're not making money off of them. These are old, ancient games. Some of them are 30 years old or more. They're IPs that we just don't do anything with anymore, that we're not even promoting, we're not making money off of. So what would be the point? What would be the point? So again, I have no qualms with downloading those ROMs of old games that no one's selling, and stuff that just basically can't be found any other way. That can't be found any other way. Now, after the Commodore 64 and Apple II, if I can do the Apple II series, I might also do ZX Spectrum. The ZX Spectrum came here to the US as I believe it was the Casio, no, not the Casio, it was the Sinclair Spectrum 2000, I believe. But it wasn't compatible with the ZX Spectrum over in Europe and in the UK. And so the number of games that it had available to it were extremely limited. There's actually more over there. In fact, the game Elite, the original Elite, was a ZX Spectrum game. It was released for the ZX Spectrum first, and then ported over to other systems. So I might cover that, potentially. I might also, you can get Elite free from the Frontier Development's website. They are offering it there for free, for download for PC and Mac. They do have the original Elite. So I may grab that and do some video on that, retrospective on that game, because it's an important part of video game history, which all these games are, which is why they need to be preserved. Why it's important to preserve them. Why I'm doing this whole retro gaming series to begin with, because these games deserve to be preserved. They deserve to be showcased so current generations can see them, and so we can remember the games that we played in our youth. That's why I'm doing this whole series. Right, moving on. Now, if you are a member of the Gamers Bay community, you will know that I am doing a live stream for Halloween. And so on Devil's Night at 10 p.m. Central Time, on Devil's Night, I will start a 2-hour live stream of Dead Space 2. My co-host TigerCon will be here taking questions from live chat and also adding on his own commentary during gameplay. And then after that 2-hour stream, we will take a short break, start the stream up, and at 12 a.m. Halloween morning, we will begin Doom 2016. Now, I was doing a video series on Doom 2016 here on the channel before, and I ran into a little bit of a problem. Well, I figured out what that problem was, playing the game over. I figured, okay, I found out what my problem was. I found out why I couldn't get past that part. So if I get to that part during the 2 hours of that stream, then you'll see me blow past that. I don't know if I'll get to that point in 2 hours, but we'll see. So he'll be here. Tiger will be here through both games, giving his commentary and answering questions from the YouTube chat. I have not yet added Gamers Bay to Restream. I have to set up the subscription for that. I have to budget that in, because it's a subscription to add more than 2 channels at a time. That way I can stream to Gamers Bay and my Twitch channel at the same time. Right now I'm streaming to YouTube and my Twitch channel at the same time. So we'll see how that works out. I'd like to have that set up for the Halloween stream, but I may not be able to get it in time. So look forward to that. It will be starting October 30th, 10 p.m. Central Time, Dead Space 2. And October 31st, 12 a.m. in the morning, Doom 2016. So look forward to that. What else is going to be happening here on the Gamers Bay? What more will I be doing? Well, let's recap. We'll be doing the Atari 2600 series with TigerCon coming on for the multiplayer games. We'll be using the dual screen setup that we use for Elite Dangerous, so you'll be able to see what's happening on his screen and mine. And then after that, I will potentially be doing Commodore 64, Apple II, and ZX Spectrum, and other systems after that. Probably, if I can do it, maybe television and ColecoVision. Maybe, no promises on that. I have to see what I can make available and how good the emulators are, because I don't have the hardware and I don't have the budget to get the hardware, because they can be pricey on eBay, and getting the games for them can sometimes be pricey because they're not sold individually. A lot of them are sold in bundles, and they are sometimes expensive that way. But we'll see. And I also don't have a way of streaming those, because I'd have to have a way of converting them from RF to HDMI and then streaming them to my and playing those on my system. I would have to do emulation, and I don't know how good the emulators are for those. Now, as for other live streams on Gamers Bay, the Overwatch live streams were actually a lot more popular than the Team Fortress 2, so I may do more Overwatch. I may do some stuff with StarCraft 2 with TigerCon, and also we found some old maps that TigerCon and I built. We found an old map that he built for Warcraft 3. Now, Blizzard is going to do a remaster of Warcraft 3, just like they did for the original StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War. They're going to be doing a remaster for that. I don't know how long it's going to take them to do that, so we're going to wait until that happens, because Warcraft 3, as it is now, does not support the really higher resolutions that are available on modern machines. You can still sort of run it, but it will run better if we had a remastered version, which they're going to do. It's not going to be like it's going to be not fully remastered like the paid remastered version. It's going to be more like a update to Warcraft 3 so that it can run on a modern machine, so they can handle more modern resolutions. The textures may not be upped for HD or 4K like they did with StarCraft. They may do that. They may do that kind of remaster for Warcraft 3, and I hope they do. And that should not do anything to make that map incompatible. I wrote a lot of portions of the story and the dialogue for that map, for the characters, because it's almost like a quest, almost like an RPG. It's like a combination RPG and RTS that I had built, that I had helped him build, and he did all the programming and everything, and some of the storytelling of it. So it's something that both of us worked on, and we have not played that in a long time, and we'd like to run through it and do some videos of it, or even maybe invite a live stream of it. And we'll potentially do that here on Gamers Bay instead of my channel. And if by the time we get around to it, I should have Gamers Bay on Restream. That way we can stream to both Gamers Bay and Twitch at the same time. Beyond that, I am not certain what else is going to happen other than the retro series, the old gamer plays, and the Overwatch streams. On my channel, ZorchCast Central, we're going to continue doing the Elite Dangerous live streams. We are now 23 jumps away from Sagittarius A, so tomorrow we're going to be doing a live stream of that. We're going to limit our live streams to 2 hours because of the technical issues we've been having. We're going to limit those to 2 hours, and that's why the Halloween live streams are going to be 2 hours long. While we're going to do 2 of them, because we're going to stop, give the system give the streaming system and network equipment a rest, for a short rest, and then start back up. And so we're about 23 jumps away from Sagittarius A. I want to do those. I've been promising live streams of Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind, because the video I did on the mod for Morrowind that updates the graphics, that was a very popular video. And Morrowind was a good game. Morrowind, for many, Morrowind was the best game of the series. Now, Skyrim, I do agree, brought a lot of good modern stuff to the game. But when it comes to the variety of weapons and the things that you could do, Morrowind was a little bit better game. I was a little disappointed with Oblivion. As good a game as Oblivion was, it was not as good as Morrowind was. But ESO's been growing to become a much better game. It's been growing up to be a lot better game. So I'm going to be covering that in live streams on the TheZorch Central channel. Oh, and here on Gamers Bay, I may also do some more stuff for No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky has been getting a ton of new updates. A lot of bug fixes. A lot of, not only bug fixes, new features. It goes beyond just what was done just a couple of months ago, where they just completely almost rebooted the game, completely altering the game. They've been doing a lot. There's stuff in it now that I didn't know about before. There's a lot of new stuff in the game, and I want to cover that. So I may do some live streams or videos of No Man's Sky here on Gamers Bay, because Hello Games has been updating that like crazy. The stuff that they've been doing for that is incredible. They've completely turned that game around. They turned around from being this universally hated game to one that's actually doing really well. That's got almost it's almost got overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam now. Like, gone from hated to beloved. No other game has done that except for Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV failed the first time around, and then A Realm Reborn came out, and that was a massive reversal. Speaking of Final Fantasy, I will also be covering Final Fantasy 15 for the PC. Square Enix is going all out with Final Fantasy on the PC, and I will be covering that here on Gamers Bay when that comes out. They're going completely all out with that. They've got mod support, they've got advanced graphics support, a whole plethora of PC-only features. So they are going completely all out. I mean, I was surprised at some of the things that they were doing. It's like, whoa. It's like they're going all out for this. They're seriously going all out for the PC version. So that's so far what's going on. It's things for the future, things that will be going on. I will be making this a much more regular show, so you'll know exactly what's happening on the channel and in the community. The Gamers Bay edition of ChloeCast. So, if you like the content on this channel, please consider giving us a subscribe and a thumbs up if you liked it. Also remember that there's that little bell button right next to the subscribe button. Hit that so you get notifications of all new videos and also any live streams from this channel. And leave any questions that you might have down in the comments. And whenever you see live streams, come and join us in the live chat. In fact, come join us in the live chat for the Halloween live streams that we've got coming up. So again, and also, Remember that we have the Gamers Bay community on Google+. Unlike most other gaming communities on Google+, or even Facebook, we have no trolls. We are a troll-free community. So feel free to come there and talk about whatever, because no one's going to make fun of you there. We won't tolerate bad behavior in that community. So if you want a community where you will be treated with respect, join Gamers Bay on Google+. With that finally said, again, I have been Mike TheZorch. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.